Hello. How's everybody doing? Oh, I got the wrong glasses on. Hold on. Ooh, those are dirty. Hi, Scooter Mom. How you been? I usually don't need mods on regular chats. Y'all are usually pretty good about it. Now, I could not find my computer glasses, so I'm gonna have to be looking up my nose a little bit when I read the chat. Oh, I was panicking. I was about to go live, and my screen went blank a couple times. Hi, Susan. Hi. So I was about to panic. So hopefully we're good now. I don't know why my computer was doing that. So how's everyone been? I'll give it a minute or two. Um, oh, I've been kind of lazy lately, so I'm not too bad. I was lazy today. But so a couple more shows. So I have way more information than I did when I made the title. And so I have a little bit more to talk about that. I'm a little bit more perturbed than I was originally. So maybe I should have changed my title. I'm not sure. But actually I was running around here the last 15 minutes. I was like, oh my gosh, because this first time I went live that my husband wasn't in the house. So the dogs are in there trying to bark. Then he calls me from the road and says, your clothes are in the dryer. And I'm trying to get those hung up like 10 minutes ago because I can't stand my clothes not to get hung up. So I'm good now. I literally plopped down here like 4 minutes prior. Hi, baby girl. Palatka, Florida. I've only been to Florida once as a kid. I think it was Orlando. It was a water park. So I don't know where anything is really. Scooter Mom, where are you? You're California. I see the CA. Now, do you live in Southern California, Scooter Mom? Are you one of those? Because I mentioned that I don't know what's going on. We're still waiting. There's a chance I might be in Southern California sooner than I thought, but it'll only be like a quick trip. So there's a few people that lived in the area of Riverside and Moreno Valley where I'll be. I was just going to maybe schedule a lunch. Oh, Canada. Got it. Nope, you don't live in Southern California. That's funny. Let me get some water. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm giving it a couple minutes. I know it's a weird time, but I was like, I know a lot of people, especially the live streamers in LA and stuff, are still out. So, and originally this was going to be a members only stream. That was my original thought. But then when I was watching some things and getting more information, I decided I wanted it to be open. I haven't had enough liquids today. Sometimes I wish. My daughter a couple days ago, she said, I couldn't understand why everybody was complaining about the heat wave in California. Now she's about an hour inland, so she's not right on the coast. And then she said the next day she figured out what they were talking about. So it's been a bit hot for her too. 1.5 hours away from Orlando, from an hour from Jacksonville. My husband was born. They lived in Jacksonville when he was born. Orange Park. That sound familiar? But he doesn't remember it. He was 2 when they left. He always said he was born in Fort Lauderdale, and he was wrong. It was something called like Orange Park. I'm going to mute this. I'm going to yell at my dog. Hold on. I don't know if that's going to work. I told her stop barking, go to bed. Normally, Tom's in there, even if he's asleep during the day, and they're calm, but they're not liking this. Good morning, Marco. I wish I lived there in winter. I know. It's pretty decent here in winter, but our summer is 8 months long in Texas. So right now, I literally sit right here in front of the fan. Anywhere else, it gets too hot. That's another reason I made this stream so late, is because between 5 and 8, it gets super hot in here because the sun has been sitting on the house all day, and I have to have my fan up to hurricane level, and you can't hear me. So I'm like, well, if I make it for 10, it'll probably be cooled off, and it is. So I was able to turn it down to manageable levels. If you hear a little bit of noise, that is my fan. I cannot turn it off. I will die. 20 minutes from Orange Park. Awesome, baby girl. I wish my hubby was here. But yeah, his older siblings would remember. But he left. Let's see. He was born in 68, so he left in 70. So, but yeah, I wish I was in Canada in the summer. We have a travel trailer. The problem is my husband still works. When we bought it 4 years ago, so get this, we bought it in January of 2020. What happened right after that? So the first year we had it, we couldn't even use it. So we've used it a couple of times just in the area. We haven't gone on any trips because he's saving up all of his vacation for his hernia surgery. So he hasn't taken a vacation in 2 years. So we've had a travel trailer for 4 years and really haven't used it. So, but I told him, I said, once we're on the road, I don't care. We're going as far north as humanly possible. If we have to go to Canada, we're going to Canada. I'm not doing 100 degrees ever again. So, no face. Much love from South Carolina. Yep, 110. So what we've had here, wow. Now see, I got my first heat exhaustion in 86 in basic training at not Fort Jackson. Was it Fort Jackson in South Carolina? Yes. And that's why I can't handle the heat. They were having a heat wave that summer. Cinderella, hi. Phoenix. I hear that, Marco. I hear that. The only reason we're still here is because my husband was stationed here for 17 years. He retired. He had a good job. Our daughter was still in high school. We already had the house. And so we're still here. But I think I would have been so much better off anywhere else because I grew up doing stuff outside, and you can't. You cannot camp here in summer in a tent. So, all right. So it's been a few minutes. So let's get into this. Oh, you're going to have to put that in Fahrenheit. I don't understand Celsius. But I remember last summer, Steph, the altar nerd, who I've met, by the way, lives in England, and she was talking about the heat wave y'all were having a while back. I think she lives in Yorkshire? I can't remember. I think it's up north. Yorkshire, I think. Yorkshire, is that how you sound it? All right, so I'm curious to know. Okay, so there's a lot of people that are like me, don't like drama. And I don't. And when it first started, okay. Oh, 80's nice. God, I wish it was 80 here. It was 107, 108 today. I didn't even go outside. And my poor dogs, I forgot about them. Like, it was like 20 minutes, and I forgot about them. And two of them were panting when they came in. It was 20 minutes, was too long outside. I'm new here, don't know your story, but I respect and thank you and your partner for your service. Oh, thank you, No Face. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're in an army town in Texas, dead center, Texas. I got into the protesting after more than a year of deep diving, and I watched the protests start. And quick story, I was bedridden for the last 5 years, 6 since 2010, and I'm saying it because that's how I think things happen for a reason. If I hadn't have been bedridden, I wouldn't have been able to do the deep dive into the anti-Scientology movement like I did towards the end of 2022. And I found Aaron Smith Levin growing up in Scientology, and I deep dived a year of his videos, and then I watched him grow in 2023 and some other channels. I watched SPTV start. I was there the day it started, the day it was mentioned in the chat, and when it started. And then I watched the auditors start in LA and the protesters start. And right about this time they started, I got a pain stimulator put in my back in November. And it helped so much because I had injured 5 discs in my back and I couldn't even sit up. So it healed by around January. And that's when I found out the org in Austin, Texas was opening in February, right across from the University of Texas. And I was like, my original channel name was Scientology in Texas. It was too long. I changed it because I didn't want them to win over our young people at our college. So the week before they opened, I started going. Pearl Snappy was already there. And I thought I was just going to show up and hold a sign for a few days. I never thought I'd still be here March, April, May, June. 4 months later. Still going to Austin 3 times a week. At least I tried to. This week I didn't make it. That's kind of why I'm doing this. And I've watched it go from a handful of TikTokers in LA. When I started in February, there was about 50 protest channels. Now there's like over 100 and something protest channels all over the world now. And then we've got, 50, 60, 70, I don't know how many ex-Scientologists with channels. So that makes SPTV over 200 channels. And I don't know of any other group of channels like that on YouTube that are all working for the same goal. And I think it's a beautiful thing. Yes, you baby girl. Awesome. Yeah, I was there too. And you know what? I knew it was going to take off. And I had remembered that they said that they bought up all the domains that they possibly could of everybody's names. So literally the second month, I bought a domain in preparation to make a website where we could put upcoming events and everything. Somebody's already since done that with sptv.space. But I bought it and I tried to get with Claire to try to get it off the ground because I couldn't do it myself. I'm not tech savvy. I just paid the $12 for the domain name and that was it. I needed her to put me with somebody that knew what they were doing. Well, she never got back to me. I kept doing super chats and emails, and then all that went by the wayside. And but they're kind of doing the same thing with the sptv.space, so I'm happy for that. I still kind of want to do the website just to have an one-stop that maybe is, but I'm waiting to see what they're doing with the space. They're expanding, so I think I'm just going to leave them to it. They're doing a great job, and I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just letting that go. But and it was a beautiful thing. And if you've all been watching, it's been fun. It's been stressful. People have been arrested. Some not so fun things have happened. But something that, if you've watched Aaron the last couple days, that Will said really stuck with me today. And that was where I got my title. And he said, it used to be fun. And that's why he has been putting old videos back up on his channel to remind us what it was supposed to be, I think. He didn't really say those words, but it was either him or Aaron, I think, that said, we need to heal or find a way to heal or something. And I don't remember I have a fibromyalgia Swiss cheese brain. It's hard for me to remember details sometimes. And I don't want, when I did say something when this first started, but I stayed away from the he said, she said, and the details, because I don't know them all. None of us do. There's so many channels involved, and chats and people talking and supporters and mods, and it's a big community. So not everybody is aware of everything. And so, none of us can watch every channel for hours at a time and know everything that's going on. Thank God for Natalie's channel, or I would never know what's going on. So, I was unaware of some things until today because I backtracked and watched a couple other shows. Yeah, me too, Scooter Mom. And I think Aaron, the last couple days, said some things that needed to be said. There was a lot of people in the chat saying, thank you for saying something. Because before now, it's just been all these small channels involved in the drama and going back and forth. And we needed somebody with a head on their shoulders, I think, and somebody with some pull to say something. I understand why he was upset. I think a lot of us have been upset. I'm upset because I was duped a little too. Right at first, right when the encampment was kind of falling apart, I heard DOA. I saw him talking about he's trying to keep people safe. And so I went on and I said, DOA is trying to keep people safe. I understood that. And that's what I thought it was. And so I was supporting him in that for a short time. But Scientology effed up when that security guard said horrible lies. But good sign. Oh yeah, they did. They unleashed the beast after that. Streese's head on shoulders. Some of the other float arounds just don't get it. Yes. Yeah, I know that story. Yep. But I think things happen for a reason. This was supposed to happen. And Will was the one that was supposed to be the catalyst. Everything I think happens for a reason. SPTV wouldn't be here. Well, that wasn't the protest. SPTV was starting, but the protest movement would have never, I don't think it would be what it is. Yeah, that started the protesters. And they were auditors then. They didn't shout. They didn't carry signs. They were just standing there with their cameras. And that was enough to close the Hollywood Test Center doors and stop their body routers. And when we saw that happen, people were like, you know what? If they can do it, maybe we can too. And that's the way I was. I literally was watching them one night. And while I'm watching William, and I call them the TikTokers, but they've all moved to YouTube too. But you know who I mean. The young people. And I'm like, you know what? They're opening in February. You know what? Maybe I can do this too. And I think the sad part of all of this is we've gotten away from what the message was supposed to be or what we're supposed to be doing. And I made notes. I need to find my notes. I made notes so I would stay on track. Protest. Continuity since Anonymous. Yeah, and I found out about Sir Crepidus Days in Anonymous today. I hadn't watched post stream, and what he went through was horrible. Just horrible. Something Wills also said was that they were all doing their own thing then. Up until the encampment, pretty much, everybody's been doing their own thing, protesting their own way. We're learning from each other. I learned a lot from like Pearl Snappy and other people that came before me, and equipment and audio and what to say, and I tried to do some fun things early on, and it didn't work out with some cadences. I'm still trying, just to make it more fun, because to be honest, standing on a street corner for a couple of hours it can be kind of dry. A little bit. So And that's something that, I mean, William didn't start it, they did, but he will damn sure finish it. Stick to the script. Some people aren't minding their P's and Q's. Scooter Mom, still learning from other streamers. Yeah, and that's what's great about that. William started this type of protest. William started the auditors in California, in LA, because he was doing it by himself. If you're not sure about that story, try to go back. If I can find something about it, I'll put it in the description in the next couple of days for you, because you said you were kind of new. William was a cop watcher in LA, and he had a channel. And what it was is, he says he likes rules. He's not somebody that's just mad at cops. He just saw cops doing things on when they would pull people over in Hollywood. He lives in the area, and they weren't educated and they were doing the wrong things. And one day he was standing outside a Scientology building, cop watching, and the security from Scientology messed with him. Yeah, he yells at delivery robots. I know, that's hilarious. But that's what turned his sights on to Scientology. He didn't know anything about it. He didn't have any reason to. He wasn't protesting at first. He just started going over to the test center and just filming and auditing like he did the cops. He still does both. And then slowly but surely, these TikTokers came and just started standing with him, and it ended up being a party. They would just stand out there and just have a good time. And that was enough to keep and just tell people that wanted to go in, it's a cult, don't go in. That's all they did. And that's all it took to close them doors. And they called fake phone calls on them, fake police calls on those. In 2 months, it was like over 24 times. And that's what got LAPD on our radar. And that's what made it serious. So that people like me knew, hey, more pizza. Watching the channels in LA, the rest of us knew what to expect. We knew that if we did this, there was a good chance that we would be on Scientology's radar and we might get arrested. I'm a 55-year-old grandma. I've never been arrested in my life. I haven't had a speeding ticket since 1990. Matter of fact, my last job, I worked in a police station, a federal police station. I had to have a security clearance. So they did call the police on my location, but they had private security the first few weeks of the Austin org opening, which was actually a benefit to us, because they couldn't call and say we were doing something crazy, because he was standing right there watching us. So what did they do? They used the VoIP service, which is a over the computer phone call, and called in shots fired to my location. And Pearl Snappy got the report, and it said first they had a knife, then it was shots fired, and 6 cop cars showed up. And I'm like, and the guy ran by, and he's like, have you been filming the whole time? I'm like, yeah. He's like, have you heard shots? I'm like, no. And you could visibly see him chill, because he's like, he could see nobody running and screaming. He saw me standing there normal, and I didn't hear anything, and he knew then it was probably bogus. And I was just like, and that was early on. I hadn't been there very long, a couple of weeks maybe. And that was the weekend, though. What do they call? Swatting. That weekend, they swatted a bunch of people. That was the weekend that Jessica Palmadessa and I think it was LA Cam, I think Confident Chris, don't quote me. They weren't even at the org. They were somewhere else, and somebody shot a swatting on them, and like 24 cop cars and 2 helicopters showed up. So it was that same, and they did a bunch of them. He made it fun, the way he made fun of their clothes and their ways of body rounding. Yeah. I mean, he said things, but he wasn't like horrible to them. He was just annoying. But he knows. Sometimes I was like, I worry for William, because he goads the police sometimes. Like, I'm going to get you. I'm going to make sure I get you. I'm going to bring you down. And these cops are under a lot of stress. And sometimes I worry that, they might, get upset and do something they shouldn't do. And that just worries me. Okay. Scooter Mom. He arrived after. Yeah. I couldn't remember who all. That's been a while. They went to a house and got swatted. They weren't even protesting. They were at a party, and they said there was a bunch of shots fired. But here's the thing: if you remember, they had a police scanner in the car, and they have on camera that they said, "Be advised, it's a possible swatting. It's the blonde girl that's always in our department making complaints." So they knew before that it was a SWAT, and they could have sent a couple of cops to find out. Instead, they just brought everybody anyway. And I know eventually somebody high up that's not on the Scientology's payroll is going to get fed up with the waste of resources. And I think that's starting to happen. I think that's why we're seeing private security. I think that's why they arrested that person and tried not to, they didn't really have a choice. It was pretty cut and dried for Hollywood Aja. That guy attacked her. And they finally arrested somebody. I think we're finally starting to see the cracks because, as a cop, you can only do so much outside the lines that people aren't going to notice after a few months. And it's all on camera. So, but yeah, so mainly I was trying to stay, to what's going on now. But, how we moved up to where we are now, we kind of got to talk about the past a little bit. So other than that, I mean, that had to be freaking stressful for those guys. And yeah, Scooter Mom. I usually have a different pair of glasses. They're readers for the chat. Can't find them. So I don't have to do this, but you're going to have to look up my notes tonight. I'm going to get new glasses soon, I hope. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be all fun and games either. I'm old enough to know better. But it didn't have to become what it is right now. Might have Jess's picture in their wallets. Pretty much. Or they know who she is. But so we know Scientology has a lot of money. And we're pretty darn sure that they paid off TikTok to close up Jessica's TikTok channel. Because they said that's happened before, but there's a way to get it back. And she wasn't. She was one of the few channels that she couldn't get it back. I don't know anything about TikTok. So I did start a channel on there and I haven't touched it since. And I wouldn't put it on my regular phone. I put it on an extra phone that I never touch. So it might as well not exist. Eventually I might do that. But so yeah, there was some stress, and some shenanigans going on and people having to go to jail. And that was horrible. I couldn't imagine having to go to jail for days. Oh, pervy. Okay, got it. Now I get it. But I can see what the vision was for the encampment, that they were trying to be the opposite of these things that they're getting permits for Scientology. And they were already doing the barbecues on the road, and they were feeding the homeless, and this was like another version of that. But yeah, they want to get rid of the protesters at all costs. Yeah, they do. He was almost there today on Aaron's channel. They only needed like $500 more, and I'm pretty sure he got it. I'm pretty sure by now I'm sure he has it. So that's good. I'm glad he's using Will's lawyer that knows what she's doing. They are waiting the protesters out. Hey, Pup Groomer. Hey, I used your flyers last night. Your mini flyers. He broke 11,000? That's awesome. Thanks, pizza. That's awesome. I'm happy. And I know I wanted to make sure he got a good lawyer. And let's go into that. Okay, so some of the questions were around his lawyer and how bad he was, and was people plants, was people working for Scientology and all this. You know what? Something Will or Aaron, I think Will said it, but I'm not sure. He said, who cares? I mean, I can see if somebody is messing up your lawyer, but even Danny, I think, has said that that's not the case. This guy was just incompetent. And that happens. I had an incompetent lawyer in the 80s when I had my car accident. It was horrible. I didn't get nothing. And I should have. The guy ran a red light. I even had an off-duty cop as a witness. We should have went to trial. But so it happens. You can get 11,785. Good. When I saw it, he was 500 he was at 9,500. And so I'm glad. He'll be great. He'll be fine then. If he's got Will's lawyer, he'll be fine. Because the video exonerates him. That's why I couldn't imagine this lawyer wanted him to cut a deal with footage that shows he didn't do anything. Just boggles the mind. But there are incompetent lawyers out there. And the firm probably assigned their newest or crappiest lawyer to this because they thought, well, this is just a stupid TRO. You know, they're not going to put one of their good lawyers on it. And that's probably all that happened. The firm was probably good, but that lawyer wasn't. And honestly, Danny needs to file a complaint. He needs to file a complaint that he had to go get a new lawyer because their lawyer was incompetent. Now he's out $6,000. He should give him his money back. He really should. I'd like to know who that law firm is. We should all email him and say, look, you need to give Danny his money back because you wasted his money and his time. But that's just my thought, because I had a crappy lawyer that in 2 years made like 4 phone calls. And then at the end of 2 years, right before you have to go to trial for a car accident, he's like, well, will you take this? But he got a third. I barely got enough for a new car, let alone I'm still being treated for it 36 years later. Anyway, I digress. So I was going to come on here and just talk about where we can go from here. But yeah, baby girl, I saw it too. Because I hadn't watched Poe's stream with Sir Crepitus about what Sir Crepitus had been through. And I didn't know Poe was being raked over the coals and was ready to quit SPTV. I found that out after I made this stream. Then I watched some Nora, and I watched another, I don't know if I'd already seen Aaron's video. But Dumb, and Dumber, or Dumb, Dumber, and Dumbest. Yeah, that's the law firm. So then I got a little bit more irritated than I was. I think it's gone from possibly, people being a plant from Scientology, which is completely possible, to this campaign of trying to bring people down. Why? Why? Yeah, not everybody gets along, but be respectful in public, or be, not okay. Let me go there. Not all of the protest channels, none of us all talk to each other. I don't. There are protest channels, protesters that talk to each other in their personal lives, that have visited with each other in their personal lives, and have a relationship with some of them. I've met some great people. I got to meet Farrell Cheryl, Liz Ferris. Oh, hell no. Oh, gosh, I can't remember everybody that was there that night that came to visit. And I actually borrowed my son's car so I could stay for it, because normally I have to have my vehicle home for hubby to go to work at night. So I can't stay past 7 p.m. in Austin. So I got a car so I could go. We hung out later. It was great. But the problem with being in different states, being on different channels, not seeing every minute of everybody's live stream, because it's not possible with over 100 and something channels, or if we count all the SPTV channels, over 200 now. Not one person can watch and keep track of all of that. So you might hear something over here, and then you hear something over here, and then you've only got part of the picture. That was me. Because I'll be honest, if I go on and I see 3 people that are live, and I see an LA live, I'll go in for a while. But when they got 700 or 800 people, and I see somebody over here with 12, I'm gonna go watch 12, because people did that for me. So when I do have time, I'm not able to sit. And some of the live streamers, especially in LA, they'll go 3, 4, 5 hours long. And you don't know in that 5 hours what happened. I wish we had somebody that does pay attention to those LA live streamers that might do like a recap every couple days of just what's going on with them, because they're at like one of the biggest bases, and they're there most of the time. There was one day in the morning I logged on, and Hollywood Aja was there in the morning for a couple hours, and then that night I logged on again, and she was back in the evening for a few more hours. And so together that was at least 4, maybe 5 hours. So it'd be nice if somebody that knew those people, because Natalie can only bring up the really big stuff. She only has an hour, and she'll bring up, big encounters and things that happen. But, there's medium stuff that happens, mediocre, I don't know what, give me a word, medium important stuff that happens that, we kind of need to know about. But none of us all are going to know about it. Only the people in those live streams are going to know those details. So a lot of things you had to take on faith. When somebody said this happened this way, you had to take it on faith that they were telling the truth. And so at first, I thought I understood a little bit about what was going on. And I went on and I said, it was very early on. I didn't know this was going to keep going. I really thought it was just going to be a tiff. They had a disagreement. The encampment had to get closed down, and I thought we were going to move on. 3 weeks later, I didn't know we were still going to be here. And I also was one, when I did come on and talk about it, I tried not to get into the he said, she said, and the details. I just was talking about the movement. And, maybe the encampment wasn't a great idea. That wasn't what was working for us. That maybe we shouldn't try that. That didn't work. It took too many moving parts. And that's the thing about the protesting, is nobody knows when I'm going. I never know sometimes when I'm going. I used to try to schedule the night before when I knew I was going, just to let people know. But now I'm trying to just show up, to just because there was a couple times I showed up and they were closed and nobody was there. Why were they closed? So anyway, the point was, even in LA, for a long time, they didn't even talk and say, hey, I'm going to be there. They would see maybe somebody was there and they'd go too. Or, nothing was really planned. And it worked. It was working. Then they started doing the food and the barbecues, and that was fun because, that took a little bit of equipment, and people were showing up. And, it only took a couple people to run that. Somebody cooking, people brought food. It was still not a lot of moving parts. But then we went to the encampment. And really, I think we needed weeks, if not a month of planning for that. And I don't know. I didn't know anything about it till it was there. I didn't even know it was happening. I'm sorry, I'm shaking. I talk with my hands. My husband's going to build me a platform so that it doesn't shake. But I literally am big cutting board, cardboard box, computer. Because I don't have a good desk area. Oh, thank you, No Face. Yeah. Um, so I didn't even know, because I didn't watch the LA streamers that much, that there was going to be an encampment. It was there, and there was tents, and I was like, what's going on here? So yeah, it was a nice idea. I didn't know the tents were for the houseless. By the time I knew about them, that people that were staying the night for security reasons were going to stay in them. So like I said, I didn't know what they were for. It was already started. Uh, hey Don, hi. So I didn't even know. Like I said, so I think it needed a. I mean, they were lucky that they had donors willing to buy all the equipment, and they had everything that they needed, and that was, oh hell no, awesome that they had everything they needed. But like I said, something like that needed a lot more planning, a lot more people that you knew was going to be there, that was scheduled. And they said they did, and then people didn't show up and things like that. Because honestly, if there'd have been a month's notice for something like that, I might have got a plane ticket and come to help. Matter of fact, on the live stream when it was kind of coming apart, on DOA's live stream, I pulled over to super chat, because the last time I went to visit my daughter in Southern California, it cost me a $200 round trip. I said, I'll come and help if you need help. I was willing to come. I really was. Till I looked at plane tickets, and they were $400 each way, $800 round trip. Oh, I couldn't do that. I was like, oh, well, just say it. No face. I'm trying to be a little more, oh, I forget what the word is I want. Uh, oh, oh, hell no, that's sad. I feel bad. Oh, pup groomer. Yeah, I didn't care about that, but he did reiterate that it wasn't like a social security background check. He just wanted people's full names, because to be honest, we don't know everybody's real names. There's a lot. I don't know everybody. I don't know. No, I think the only reason we know Jessica's name is that's the name of her channel. But there's a lot of people we only know from their channel names. And I think he just wanted enough information that he could make sure they weren't on the predator list or something like that. But um but yeah, I didn't hear that was later. I like I said, I don't it's hard to have all the information. It's hard to have everything everybody's said in every live stream, and all this stuff and this crap, and this is why I don't do it all along, because I'm not up on everything that's going on. I wouldn't let anybody come in my live stream or my chat and uh, talk crap about another streamer. And it hadn't happened. Somebody came in my live stream one day and started talking crap about another. It was my first troll. Never had a troll. My first troll talking about another streamer. And I told him, I said, we don't talk about other streamers. I told him 3 times. I didn't even ban him. And I still don't do a big ban unless they're being like disgusting. I'll just put them in timeout. And a lot of times, if you put them in timeout for 24 hours, they don't come back because they think they're banned. Um, So, and I told DOA, that was somebody about DOA. I went over to DOA because this was early on in my streaming, so it was new to me. And I told him, hey, somebody was talking crap about you. I didn't watch a lot of DOA stuff. Usually I was just flitting around different people. I would see him on somebody else's camera or something. I never sat through a whole DOA stream. I've never have. And so when I told him somebody was so-and-so was talking crap, he said, oh, I've got trolls everywhere. He says, I don't care. I'm like, oh, okay. It was my first one. I didn't know what to do. So then I was like, okay, got it. So, pup groomer. My issue with that was no one could ensure that my full name didn't get doxxed. How many times have phones been targeted? LAPD still illegally has devices. Yeah. Exactly. And I just heard Sir Crepid's story about when he got doxxed. I'm going to talk about that in a minute too. So, so there's a lot of us flailing around just up until the last couple days, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And trying to figure out, he said, she said stuff. And then something happened to me during this. So I'm on one of my lives at home, and somebody popped into my live stream late into the stream. And I said hi, just like always. And they said a couple of very innocuous, vague comments that I didn't understand. They were talking to somebody else in the chat. So I ignored it. And then I get, if you're going to be dealing with that person, we've got problems. And I'm like, why? And I said, well, if somebody was talking crap about another streamer, I said, first, I'm going to nix that crap immediately. I don't allow it. And then I probably would have told them. And I've had time to think about it. And I'm like, because I had no idea what was going on between this streamer and this streamer. Yet I'm put in the middle and told I'm a problem if I'm going to be friends with this person. I'm like, he was in my chat for a minute. And I had to sit through, luckily it was on StreamYard, and went through my whole chat over again to see what, because the term was used, well, I was told so-and-so was in your chat and he was winding you up. Well, whoever said that to you was lying, because nothing like that happened. And I will take screenshots of the chat and send them. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to take screenshots of that chat and show how vague and innocuous what that person said was. And for somebody to say I was being wound up in my chat, I ignored it. I didn't even pay any attention to it. I went on with what I was doing. When people are doing their little chats, I'm like, go ahead. I don't care. I feel like it's a community. Sometimes people don't connect till they're in a chat with somebody. As long as it's not a ridiculously weird conversation, I don't care. And so that's what I mean. So you have streamers that have issues with each other, and a lot of times it's because a lot of these streamers talk to each other off camera. They have relationships off camera. They talk on the phone, or they go visit, and there's all kinds of stuff none of us know anything about. Even if we could watch every single minute of every stream, there's stuff going on off camera. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm obviously going to take... So, I tried to do what Aaron did this whole time. I tried to not take sides. But then you're told you're taking sides if you don't take sides. Because I decided there was somebody that did upset me on a live stream with some things and the way they said some things. And I was not going to support that person anymore. But then, I don't know, it was a stressful situation. Ingrid, right. And see, at first, my first response was, well, I don't remember anything like that. I don't remember a problem, but if there is one, I'll let you know. And I would shut it down. If somebody's in my chat talking crap about other shit, I'm even trying not to. I'm trying to keep it as vague as possible. We all know. But I'm not here to call somebody out. I just want to talk about it. There's a lot of people that are like me that have been watching this train wreck, going, what the hell is going on? That's the way it's been for me. I'm just sitting here going, trying to keep up. I've been trying to keep up, trying to figure out what's going on. I had some strong opinions about a few things, like I don't feel there should ever be a mod that goes from channel to channel to channel and talks crap about other streamers, but I don't feel anybody should do that. I don't feel anybody should go from stream to stream to stream and talk crap about other streamers in the chat, because there was one day recently that it was all the Scientologists in Clearwater were Democrats. And I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. And then somebody else said, no, they're all Republicans. And I said, see, this is why I don't want to get into anything in my chat that I don't understand, because I spoke out of turn. And so if somebody comes into my chat talking about another live streamer or anything that I'm not aware of, or I'm not up on, or I don't know the details of, I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm gonna ignore it. And if it's rude, I'm gonna put them in timeout, because it's too hard. I mean, y'all know that if any of you are live streaming, Pup Groomer and a lot of you, it's you're trying to pay attention to what you're doing. You're trying to pay attention to what you're talking about. You're watching the chat, and one little thing can get you completely distracted, and then off, just that, at least me, and just ruins my concentration. Mods are there to help the creator, not to cause more problems. I mean, seriously. Oh, Pup Groomer, that's the day I almost timed a couple people out. Yeah. Thanks, Nisa. Oh, Miss Janie, sorry. Reminds me of middle school bullshit. I know. Oh, let me go up here. I've missed a few things. Sorry, guys. Holy crap, guys. I didn't realize that I had that much. Okay, the docs part. Okay. Pup Groomer, scene. Little Rhodey, hi. The problem is when fellow protesters are aiding, knowingly or not, and potentially jailing their peers. Yeah, I mean, and we found out today, recently, that they were using things that DOA said in his stream about somebody else, and they were going to use it against him in court. Honestly, I just wish DOA and the rest of them fighting was just stop. Get back to the cause and let everyone else do you boo. And that's why I'm here tonight. I've gotten a little more into the weeds than I wanted, but that's where I am. And I think I think a lot of people are done. I think we're done with it. We're done. It's gone too far. Should have never been called in the first place. Who got cops called on him? You, Pup Groomer? See? I missed something. You can remove yourself from the middle aisle. I saw that part. Oh, hell no. Want to wind me up? Tell me who I can and can't be friends with and who I can or can't talk to. I'm too old for that crap. Me too. Me too. I read that one. The man that I have a license on doesn't even tell me what to do. The only one I tell what to do is when I order pizza. Eat more pizza. I love your name. That's so smart. I'm not supposed to have gluten. It causes inflammation, causes me some pain. But Little Caesars is in my area, and we do get thin crust, which helps. But I have to cheat with pizza. I can't do the gluten-free pizzas. Now, the ones that you bake at home are good, but not the ones. Oh, I think I was there that day. Facts. Aaron lived it. Scotty didn't. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. Yeah. That's the best way to handle any situation like that. I was thinking the same thing like middle school. Me too. I was too. I totally was. That's exactly what I thought. This is like middle school bullcrap. I'm over it now, Miss Janie. I did last time I was in Vegas, but we were talking about brain fog. Okay. Moderation always. All right. But yeah, I know everybody's on board with me. I mean, probably 95% of the community is done. It's this 5% that want the drama, that are in the chat. And, I mean, think about it. There's all walks of life involved. There's all walks of life watching our channels. So we're going to get all kinds of people. And we know there's just people that like drama. There's just people that like to stir the shit. And when I get upset, I tend to curse more. It's the army in me, sorry. I was raised by truck drivers, and I've spent 30 years around the army. So I have a potty mouth sometimes. Miss Kim, I have a recipe that makes a fantastic pizza crust. Yeah, I've seen those where the mozzarella is like the dough. I've been wanting to try one. I'll try it. I could see what was happening as things devolved. I wasn't even trying to watch it happen, but I knew pretty clearly early on. Yeah, me too, Scooter Mom. Right at the beginning, I really thought, one thing, but it really quickly, I was like, yeah, I've been exhausted. There have been days, usually I can watch a little bit every day. There have been days I stayed away from YouTube all day. I literally got into these organizing your refrigerator videos, and I did. I ordered the clear containers and redid my whole refrigerator. Tough groomer, yeah. I'm off duty, but I'll make up section. Yeah. And so I wanted to get away from talking about what happened, and except for what I found out today. And that's really the only reason I'm still on this. I didn't know that Poe was being targeted over this. And I didn't know till I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before, when Aaron finally had it and found out that now see, this is the part I don't understand, but I'm not going to get into the details. Anyways, he was saying, some people were saying, where'd the money for the SPTV Foundation go? Again, how many times has this been gone over? And at the end of the year, he's got to do a financial statement that's public knowledge. So, whatever. And so, I didn't know. And yeah, Poe is a good person. Poe, I like watching Poe. Poe's been a great source of information for dealing with the police. He's always, and he's fun. He's funny too. At first, I never expected him to be so funny. Hold on, guys. My dogs are whining. Can you hear my dogs? Sorry. Even Eric, who's a second gen. Yeah, when I found out that started from the same person calling bad actors. Yeah. When I found out second and third, gens, people that ex-members were being targeted, that's what we're here for. Sorry. And then the SPTV Foundation was targeted. And then that meant Aaron was targeted. Now, no. Do I believe Aaron's a perfect person? No. I don't believe anybody's a perfect person. But these people, and then Sir Crepitus was targeted, who I find out has been protesting since 2008 and almost fought for a year for his job in the LA Sheriff's Department because he was doxxed and because Scientology went after him. Yeah, we're figuring that out, Pippi. That's the thing. Now he's just targeting everybody, and we know he's just paranoid. If it's not some substance, then somebody mentioned in a chat one day that it sounds a lot like a schizophrenic. And I'm like, that very well may be the problem. It may be something like that. My husband, since he started security because he was at a Motel 6 for 8 years or in other places, and now he's in downtown Waco all night long driving around. He deals with homeless people all night long for 13 years, and he sees it. He had to be pushed really far to go off like that. Exactly. And if you've been watching him for any length of time, you know that that's the case. But it was like finally one of the parents in the room finally said something. And I don't remember how many people in the chat was saying, thank you for finally saying something. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because like he said, a lot of us were afraid to. Somebody like me with my tiny little channel, I wasn't about to say nothing. That was my last straw, was when the foundation was questioned. Exactly, Ingrid. I watched Eric's live that day. The reason I think no receipts, the reason Poe and Sir Crepitus ended up targeted was when they backed Becky. Exactly. Yeah, I know that. That's probably why. I felt bad for Eric. I start watching him more. Was this Eric Rader? Really? Eric Rader? See, I didn't know that. He just said, second gens. Aaron was trying not to call everybody out, so I'm not aware of some things. I honestly hope those who need help gets help, and some people need to seek help out. It was a relief, Leslie. Yeah, it was. A hungry snake. Yeah, he's his own worst enemy. Yeah, he got fed up with all the bull. I mean, he really did. He tried to stay. When it was happening, he stayed completely out of it. He's like, this is happening over here. I have my channel over here. And I saw that, and I'm like, okay. And I tried to follow his example. I spoke on it one night, and I just said, I was talking about that we needed to move on, or so, I can't remember everything I said, but I tried not to call anybody out or go into details. I was talking about the movement, and that the movement needed to move on and keep going. And I didn't want to see people drop out because there was some disagreements. And that's what I want now. And that's what I wanted to talk about a little bit today. After I talk about a couple other things. So Poe said a couple people talked him off the ledge. Poe was going to leave SPTV because he was being targeted because he did a chatathon for the fundraiser for SPTV Foundation. And then Sir Crepitus was being attacked when he's been going after Scientology since 2008 and almost lost his job. I'm sorry, but somebody that's only been here a few months, you need to find out who you're talking about before you start calling them out. When Aaron has to say something, then you know it's bad. I'm not afraid to call DOA out and plan to do live today about it. But then last night happened. I just couldn't do it. Okay, hell no. Well, you know what? You still can if you want. It's your channel. It was the Boobathon. Oh. I wanted to leave, stayed because of the kids and the elderly. Yeah. I never wanted to leave because I knew what I was here for. Regardless of what was going on over there, I tried to stay focused on the Austin org. I'm here to make sure that the students and at the University of Texas across the street don't go inside, and that anyone inside knows there's an escape. And so I never got to where I wanted to leave, but Poe and people like that have the bigger channel that deal with a lot more people, and did a boobathon and did all this other stuff, and they're more involved and a bigger target. Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of us have been doing. Yeah. And like even Aaron even said, if you go back to doing what you were doing, You're welcome. Here's my thing. When you're not here for the movement anymore, when you're not here to take down Scientology anymore, why are you here? I think Jay's still here. I saw him in Austin. He left LA, but he came to the Austin org. His family's from Texas, and so I hope he's still here. He was putting up flyers, and that's why I welcomed him. I didn't like the way he talked one night on a stream, and the way he was, but you know what? This is the way I felt about it. If the person, this is what I had to do for me, okay, just for me, is if they're still working towards the goal, if they're still working against Scientology, if they're still doing the work, I'm going to support them. And unless they're doing the work and acting a fool. But I decided, I don't know this personal grievance and this personal grievance. He showed up at the Austin org. I welcomed him. I was happy to see him. He's putting out flyers. He's still working towards the end goal, so he's welcome. And I'm going to be that way for anybody. It's just I can't worry about everybody's feelings and everybody's personal relationships. I'm not there. I don't know. I had to talk a fellow streamer off the ledge. She was going to quit too. Yeah, and imagine how many supporters we lost. How many people were just, Jay's still, he was doing the flyer tech in Austin a couple times. And he went to San Antonio Mission. So I think we still have him. Well, think about it, and Streets is right. Movements like these go through phases. Shit like this happens, and then the movement grows stronger. Yeah, I mean, I do see this as growing pains. You know, it was fun. Then we tried something new. It fell through. Some people got their feelings hurt. We're having some growing pains. We're realizing that the drama is not welcome. The drama is not going to work. We just can't have it. And I think from now on, if something else like that starts again, we're probably going to nip that right in the bud. We're not going to allow it to get like this. I didn't either. However, he was pushed into a corner by someone who isn't his dad. What about a random happy question to lighten the flow? Pets. I have 2 cats, Claudia and who. I have 3 dogs. I have, now, just real quick, all of our small dogs have been P names, and not because I named them all that. I got some of them with their names. So I had some senior chihuahuas. My other chihuahua passed. We had Pickles, Pepper, Poppy. My daughter has Peaches. So when this one was born in my house to 2 foster parents I was fostering, it was a homeless guy's 2 dogs that I took in while he was in cancer treatment. And I named her Petunia. She's a mix of something. She's small. But then we got Tiny. And I wanted a P name, and my husband called him Tiny. And I'm like, okay. And then our big dog, she's a pity boxer mix. She's Daisy. She's the first girl big dog we've had for ages. And oh my God, she's a moose. She does not know how big she is. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I feel better now. Lemon pepper wings are the best. Changed my mind. Scooter Mom, 1 cat, Tuffy, the diva. Groomer, 2 dogs that live with me, but too many others that don't. Yes, you do. You probably do have a lot. Pippi, your cat is called Pippi. Cute. Lori in Georgia. It was true with the Aftermath Foundation as with SPTV Foundation that many people they help need to be private about the help they receive. That's true. I mean, everybody's wanting to know how many people they help and stuff, and you just can't tell. You can't tell that. You just can't. When they do I can tell you exactly what the financial statement is going to look like at the end, only because I've seen other charities. It'll say, this is how much money we took in. We spent money on hotels, housing, plane tickets, clothing. It'll be the items. It's not going to tell you how many people they helped, but it'll be a financial statement, something like that. Leslie Jean, I have one cat, Elijah. He's 19 years. Tailless Manx, 15 pounds. Wow. My husband had a Mancoon growing up, and he wants another one, but I can't have another cat. I had the best cat who ever lived. And when he passed away, I couldn't do any more cats. They weren't him. And we've had now, including my daughter's cat in California, we've had 4 boy cats die by the time they were 3 years old from the bladder crystals. And at first I thought it was Texas water, but she went to California and he still had it happen. And one they saved, and one didn't make it to 4 years. So if I were to ever have a cat again, I wouldn't have a boy. None of our boy cats have made it. PTS for Life is receiving help. It was announced on Aaron's channel. He actually, PTS for Life, put his own thing out. I just saw the title. It said that he applied for a grant. Was it for schooling? I could be wrong. Ted S. Sorry, just stopping by, but I agree. I know people have not been shown financials right now, but they will all see that is all on the up and up. Exactly. And he's been on the up and up. Oh, thanks, good mom. As far as he doesn't have the 501c yet, but if he gets it by the end of the year, any donations will still be tax deductible. It's just paperwork. He's already started a foundation once. He knows how this goes. Oh, for schooling to be a counselor. That's awesome. Thank you. Baby girl, 2 cats, baby girl, and no name. Pronounced Nona May. Oh. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad. Yeah, because I was sad to hear about Liz Gail. Her son had gotten a grant for school from the Aftermath Foundation. And when she started speaking out, I don't know who said, I know Stephanie may have said something about, are you going to give the grant back because you're talking stuff? And I'm like, that should have been separate. Her son was separate. And I thought that was so rude. Yeah, that's cool. He's getting a grant from SPTV. That's cool. Otherwise, it would be super obvious and everything would crash down. I don't see that happening. Yeah, he knows. He's ran a foundation for, I don't know what he said, 7 years or so. So he knows what he's doing there. Pippi, if you are Pippi and your cat is Pippi, do you ever think you're talking to yourself when you call your cat? Oh, I know. I've never had any interaction on Twitter before in my life. And I had a Twitter war with Stephanie one day because she said something, and I was in Nora's chat talking about having this Twitter war and saying, yeah, now she's saying this. And then I'd be over here doing the Twitter war. And then when she got fed up, that Voodoo Kitty got involved. And I thought it was hilarious. Didn't bother me at all. Trolls don't bother me. I'm 55. I don't care. They don't know me. I just thought it was hilarious. I just played with her. I just kept playing with her. It was fun. I'm like, let's keep going. And then when I finally said, thanks for the content, then she left. And then Voodoo Kitty came on. Yeah. So now we're in a lighter mood. So I just, I did write down some things I wanted to make sure I touched on. It seems like y'all are pretty much on the same page and know kind of what's going on as far as trolling Steffi. I know. It was fun. And then she blocked me. Because I was like, she hasn't blocked me yet. She still hasn't blocked me. And then finally she blocked me. So I took screenshots. I'm like, oh, that was fun. And it's the only Twitter interaction I've ever had in my life. I've had that thing forever. I never go on there. I still call. I'm not calling next. Oh, I want to talk about that just a second. I think y'all are on the same page. This was my note. Scientology wasn't even needed for this drama. So it people wanted to say we had plans, that Scientology was doing this, Scientology, and Will said, I think he said it. I may not be right. That so what? So what? So what if we get a plant here or there? So what if somebody shows up and hangs with us while we're streaming, or even gives money for stuff? We're live streamers. They know who we are. What are they going to find out that they don't already know? Except if you allow them to start drama. As long as we don't allow drama to go this far ever again, who cares? And everybody said, oh, I'm sure Osa loves this. They probably do. But this was, honestly, something like this probably was going to happen eventually. Just because you have a lot of personalities all trying to do the same thing. And especially, well, in LA is kind of a different animal because they have a large group. Whereas other places, we've got a group here in Austin, but we never see each other because we just have to come at different times. And I like that to a point. I did like having a group. It was more fun. But if I'm there midday and Pearl Snap becomes late afternoonish, then we're covering that sidewalk more hours of the day than if we tried to do it. If we did it together, yeah, we have more people, maybe more attention, but less hours of the day. So I'm cool with it. I like that. I like that we hit orgs at different days and different times. Yeah, Lori, she is great. I don't know what's going over there. I don't understand those people. Except, of course, Aaron said it best. And I said it long before he did. And he didn't like that I said that SPTV had moved on without them. And he disagreed with me. He was still trying to stay, he said that, no, they still had a part to play when I said Mike Render wasn't necessary anymore. I think he understands what I meant now. They did a lot early on. They wrote books. They did a show. Okay. But SPTV, Mike didn't even have it. Aaron's the one that told him you need to start a YouTube channel. He had a blog, and that was about it. SPTV took off, and I've said, people have argued with me when I've said Aaron is the godfather of SPTV. I didn't say he was the leader. What I meant by that was when it took off, and he was already doing this, by the way. He was already trying to encourage ex-members to start channels. He wanted to see as many channels as humanly possible out there. So he was encouraging people to join the SPTV and start channels. And he did that way more than other people did. So that's what I mean by, yes, there are people that had channels before that. Yes, there are people that did more things before that protested before that there were other things. I'm just talking about right now what's going on. A lot of it stemmed there. And I just said, there's no real leader, but he's like the godfather of it. He kind of pushed it along and gave it a platform. When they started in LA, he really platformed that. And that's the only thing I mean by that. I don't mean to upset anybody that was doing work before that. I know they were there. That's how I got involved. Okay. People with no receipts firstly question their sources. Also will misunderstand everything. Yeah. Okay, he did say that. Pippi. Cats can't consent. The SPTV name has only been around for around a year. Yeah, I watched it happen. Somebody in the chat just called it SPTV, and it just took off. It got a name, and I was there that day, and they were just learning how to even multi-stream around that time. They were all really new to the collabs and things too. I mean, they would have people on and do interviews and things like that. But I started watching Aaron late 2022. He popped into my feed. Didn't know anything about Scientology. And that's when he was just putting up videos. And so I knew I couldn't watch 5 years of his videos. So I just went back a year and I binge watched all of his videos. When 2023 started in January, he said he's starting the new year. He's going to start going live 2 or 3 times a day because he didn't want to edit anymore and he could get more done. And that he wanted Scientology to rue the day he had a YouTube channel. And I remember that. I remember they started collabing. They started multi-streaming. And I remember when the SPTV started and they started using the logo. And I knew Scientology was going to try to steal that logo. I knew it. So I bought a domain right away, just in case. Because the SPTV.com is already taken by some other entity. It's got nothing to do with Scientology. Anyway. Oh, thank you, Pippi. I have always been this way. There was a group of people that I was kind of friends with. I lived in a trailer park early on. There's a lot of trailer parks in Texas. And it was small. And everybody, and because it's the Army, like this person's soldier lived here and his sergeant lived here, and I had a home daycare and I babysat for these people. And so we were a group. And so anytime they had problems, they would come to me and talk to me, and I was the one everybody talked to. And I'd be like, well, and I'd try to smooth things out, per se. I was never like really part of it. They party a lot and I didn't. But I was kind of like on the outside a little bit, kind of like I am now. But Ingrid, yes, I remember him doing a live stream about streets out there. Then Jessica. Aaron was everyone's biggest supporter in the beginning. He still is. He's the biggest cheerleader for anybody going after Scientology. It was Aaron who talked about the Aftermath Foundation and helped to raise donations. The others rarely mentioned it, and I think MR got jealous that he wasn't the face of the movement. He wasn't. Oh, I said that. I've said that all along, that he was used to being in charge in Scientology. He was in charge during the show, Leah's show, and then nothing. And I do think that's what happened, because what irritates me is on his Wikipedia page, Mike Rinder still has co-founder of the Aftermath Foundation. Aaron and his friend Lewis founded it. He asked Mike Rinder to be on the board. Maybe he's like a founding board member. I don't know what you would call it, but I still think that shouldn't be on there. But that's my personal opinion. What? Chosen one? What? I was there too, Lori in Georgia. I started watching about 6 months before Aaron ran for city council. Oh, I haven't been watching that long. I think he'd already done that, or had just finished. What did he say? Well, I know he had talked about coming to Austin before. Leslie, that's when I found him in 2022. I was researching cults and high demand groups. What a rabbit hole that is. I know. I was just bedridden, and I had just started getting into YouTube with Popcorn Planet that year. I'd never been a big watcher of YouTube. Now I'm getting rid of Hulu this month. I should have done it already, because all I do is I watch history documentaries, and I watch SPTV, and I watch I feel bad because I was a big big thing. I was big into the Popcorn Planet community with Lewis, Nerd Report, and all that. And I'm usually doing my live streaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Popcorn Planet's on. I feel so bad. Because I've gone to 3 meetups with them. Render as a salesman, right? Google is written wrong. Laura, if it was the real one, says he's not moving. Okay. Your reaction was about the same as mine. I sure hope he stays away from Austin. Although that was probably wishful thinking. I'm sure he won't be out there when I'm out there, because I'm out there by myself during the day. He probably won't. Scotty was right about Ellie, but he's totally wrong about Becky and 86, Aaron, just about everything else. You know what? This is the way I feel about it. Here's the thing. Ellie was the first one to be talking crap about the SPTV Foundation. Now he's doing it. That was my first thought. But, you know, I don't even remember ever seeing 86 GOP on a live. I've never seen him do anything, don't know him, don't know anything. Becky, I've seen a little bit because she was there. I don't know this person. Levin took the cuffs that day over Dog Man. Oh, okay. All right. So let's move on to what I really want to talk about, and that's I talked about already. You know, a large group of people are going to eventually butt heads, and it's how we deal with it and how we move on that's going to matter. Yeah, Scotty's doing everything Ellie was doing. That's what I thought. Miss Kim, you didn't call me. You didn't have to be alone. Well, today probably. Oh, I forgot. OHN, I forgot. I actually didn't go out again this week. I went last night to Cedar Park, which is a crappy, don't watch it. There was something wrong with the feed. I just watched it and didn't know it was that bad. I went out for 30 minutes and I went around that donut shop that Hitzel went, and I went to the restaurant next door and I found another box of Scientology pamphlets, and I took them. I told them about, I think they snuck in and sat them there. I don't think they talked to anybody in there about it. Chosen One, please tell us how you've heard of this or that. Those that haven't heard can see for themselves. Yeah, if there's a certain stream we should watch, let me know. But I'll just wait. I don't care to go look. I'll just wait to see how that plays out and if he comes or not. Me too. I sensed something from the beginning when you brought Claire and Mark, and I just got a vibe. I couldn't figure out why I felt that way. Yeah, it was just a little bit different. They were just, Mark wanted to be the funny guy and just talk about stories, and then he would go through spy files, and Claire was with them, and you know, they had their little community and everything, and it was nice. And I was new to it, so they were the first ones that I watched. But I mean, every time I tried to bring up getting this website started, she goes, "Oh, email me," and I got nothing. So I mean, she was a great help in the trial. I'm glad that she did that. But I also wonder, she was also high up and in charge. So I have to wonder, you know, how she feels about it. If you still have those pamphlets, oh, I am. Hitzel's sending a box to Aaron. If Liz wants some, I'll send mine to her. Yeah, I told Aaron was on our stream one day when we had a group last weekend. He popped into my live. I was like, oh, I feel big now. And then he was over on Hitzel and we were talking. She'd already gotten them. And I got on. I said, Aaron, do you still want the pamphlets? Let Hitzel know. She'll send them. Well, she ended up, I think he was gone. So she got his mailing address and she's going to send them. If you can deal with my live stream for last night, the very first 5 minutes, I go right in, and my husband was filming. I didn't even see him. He literally has the camera right on the box pamphlets. and I'm talking to the person, and then I see him, and I wanted to make sure. I said, I had the little flyers, pup groomer. This is all the things they're accused of and what they've done. And I wrote my channel name on the back and SPTV on the back and handed it to her. And I said, can I just take these? She says, absolutely. And I took them. Well, sadly, I got there later than I wanted. And a lot of the businesses in that little strip mall was closed. I'm going back because it's not a little strip mall. It's a strip mall and a strip mall and a mall. It's like, oh my gosh, they must have took a whole van load of body routers out there and sent them off, and they've probably gone everywhere. So I'm going to go earlier in the day, and I'm going to go to more businesses and make sure none of those pamphlets are left there. Looking back, you can see the effects of being an exec. Yeah. I'm sure, but I think she does. Yeah, make sure for me, OHN pizza. Sometimes questions have the easiest answers. Bottom line, we all need to be respectful, be safe, everybody. Yeah. So I think a lot of the stress and frustrations, we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know how to handle this. It was imploding. There was people upset, and this is a new thing. This movement, this protesting groups, the YouTube, 90% of us is new to this, and a lot of us didn't know how to maneuver through the crap storm. And I think, like I said, I think for the most part, we're hopefully at the end of it. If there's still more shit stirring going on, I think most of us are going to ignore it. And I hope that people that aren't getting along can just agree to disagree and go back to what we started this for in the first place. And know that attacking other creators and attacking second and third gens or ex-members is not going to win you any friends, and it's not going to help the movement. And I hope that this never happens again. And I think because we were just shocked and confused and didn't know what to do, and we were all just kind of riding it out and hoping it would work itself out. And finally, the parents of the group had to weigh in and say something. And I just hope that anybody we've lost will come back. I hope that any supporters that were in these chats that left will come back. That was my biggest worry, with that we would lose supporters. That's not what they're here for. They're not here for the drama. And the ones that are, they can stay on those people's channels. Yeah, that was a rumor then too. You know what? I don't care who that person changed their name to. I don't think any of us are going to allow somebody to come in our chats and stir things up again. We saw where it got us. He went somewhere. If he was in Texas, he was in West Texas, because it looked like desert when he bought. I did see where he bought his RV, which I thought was great. And he was up in the mountains, but it was deserty, so it looked like West Texas or New Mexico or someplace like that. End of this stage, looking forward to the next stage. And yes, that's exactly what I hope we're at now. I appreciate all the people who had the courage to put themselves on the front lines. I appreciate the mods to keep the streamers safe. Thanks, Leslie Jean. Yes, I appreciate my mods. When I made my mods, I didn't really need them. But when you go vertical, you go in people's short streams and you get put in people's feeds that know nothing about you. And you get anybody. And I got the first day, whoa, the trolls were off the chain that day. I was so lost. Thank God I had... what it was is I didn't have members yet, and I wanted to highlight a few people that had been here for a while. And if you have been a part of my channel since the beginning, and I didn't make you a mod, I'm sorry. My Swiss cheese my Swiss cheese fibro memory probably forgot, and you need to email me. Arizona, that's what it looked like. Oh, okay. I don't care. I really don't. I'm not gonna worry about it. And if all the streamers just take the rule that I have always had, no shit talking in the live chat, go to Discord or Reddit where they like to do that. When I heard Discord was hateful, I knew I never want anything to do with it. Never been there. Reddit, I don't understand it. Don't want anything to do with that. I like being in the chats and talking to people and talking about things that need to be talked about, you know. But I don't like that kind of drama. I never have. When, I was here when the internet started. And I remember the chat rooms. And I was like, why do I want to go into a chat room and talk to strangers? I have my husband's always been my best friend. And I have a friend here and there. I'm like, I don't need that. Now that's what the chat is. It's like chat room, but it's different. It's not the same. We're all here because we're here for a common goal. Whereas a chat room, you might just be all over the place, just talking to people. Here, we do have side chats and stuff, and I like that. I think that's great. But, if you're in my chat right now, you're here because you're here to see Scientology go away. And you're here for the common goal that I'm here for and that the other people in the chat are for. So, yeah, we do chat, and it's nice, but we're not here for drama. We're not here to sow discord in the community. So it's different. I feel it's different than what the chat rooms were back in the day. Oh, squirrel audits. Somebody's doing their homework. Oh, hi, Judy. Hi. Discord is a cesspool of toxicity. That's what I've heard. And I have anxiety. I don't need it. I don't. I like my life. I like my boring life. I really do. It took a very big passion for me to get out and do what I'm doing. But people like you guys make it easy. I got hooked with trivia BBS. My aunt, uncle, cousins are Jehovah's Witness. They don't talk to us anymore. That set me down a rabbit hole 2 years ago. I fell into the Scientology parallels. A cult is a cult. We can at least agree on that. Yes, we can. Chat was saying that about Ellie's alts. I know Arizona is correct. Okay. I'm in Discord servers that are fantastic. I steer clear from toxic ones. I honestly don't have the time. I need. I just don't have the time. I need my time to watch SPTV and a couple other things that I watch. So you guys kind of got to decide what you have time for. And I used to type really fast. Yeah, I usually put it in my description. It should be in there, but it's Scientologywontwin at Gmail. That's my email. Obviously no punctuation. Do you know where in Arizona? No, when he picked up the RV, he was coming down out of a mountain. And he said that's why he got such a good deal, because it was up in the mountains and nobody wanted to go up there to get it. It was in the middle of nowhere. That's all I know. I think he was keeping it quiet because he didn't want people to know where it was. And like I said, I don't care. I don't care who other people's aliases are. If it's the same person or not. To me, it's not a big deal. Oh, I didn't mean to hit that. That's an accident. I didn't even know that was up. So I'm scrolling and I hit on something. I don't know how to take it off. Where is it? Ah, there we go. Sorry about that. Um, so I had originally made this was just going to be a members only chat because I have some memberships were bought, and so I have quite a few members right now for this month. But after I had what had happened last couple days, I thought, well, let's just keep it an open chat. And then after I made the title that I did is when I watched Poe and Socrates and some other stuff that I was behind on. So I went into a little more into the weeds than I had planned. But I'm just hoping that if anything is going on like this now or in the future, that as a community, we can squash it. If by just ignoring it. Well, I was on here way longer than I expected. I thought I'd do an hour. But I appreciate y'all hanging around. And I'm a very opinionated person. I got no problem with that. But I'm gotten good in my older years of keeping my opinions to myself and trying to temper them a bit. Because I've seen drama firsthand in my 20s to the point that I didn't want to have any friends anymore. I quit having friends. My husband and I have been together since high school. And I was like, I have a best friend, Army wives. And it's any of your Army wives. Some of you are great. Some Army wives be crazy. And I mean, I never went on post. I was never in any of the family groups. I never went to any of the meetings. We always lived off post. I wanted nothing to do with it. I was able to take care of the family when he was gone without all of that. So what you're saying is we should be adults and ignore the distraction. Yeah. And I mean, I understand that there's a lot of people watching some channels that maybe aren't our age. I know my analytics are my age. And you've got the younger YouTubers and TikTokers, and they've got the younger people in the chats who don't understand how to deal with drama and I mean, you got to my daughter is more into drama than I would like. Thank God they didn't have Facebook and stuff back then. She would have been a basket case. But, my grandkids are in middle school, and I'm like, I just can't believe what they're going to have to go through as far as social media. So I know there's a lot of young people and a lot of certain types that watch certain creators. And they're going to keep those people. Those people are going to stay in those chats. More power to you. Go. And the ones that don't, they'll find the creators that aren't drama. Kingman? I've heard of Kingman, Arizona. Is that what you're talking about? The place? I don't know about the justice part. But I used to have a background check. Uh, I had a membership to a place you could background check online. Just because my son's baby mama disappeared for 4 years. And we were trying to find her. Yeah, sometimes, Scooter Mom. I mean, I actually don't. I like the young people. I don't mind. Um, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Um, But yeah, I mean, that's gonna be the case. I mean, I don't see a lot of young people wanting to watch me. I get that. I'm not gonna be some big channel. I get that too. That's not why I'm here. Um, I'm here. I like doing this stuff too. It's fun. Um, but I didn't get to protest this much this week because I had the family issues going on, and every day it was changing. Every day we thought we were going to have to get in the truck and go to California, and we still don't know if that may be a that may happen. We don't know yet. We're still waiting to find out what her plans are. Oh, got it. Yeah, that does make sense because I did see him driving out of the mountains. Howdy, neighbor. So I just hope that okay, so we kind of know, but there were a lot of the younger people that don't, I think, understand, or just people that don't know how to deal with that kind of a drama, that don't know how to deal with a big group of people, talking about you, and it's hard. And I just hope maybe we've learned from this is what I'm getting at. I'm hoping that the community as a whole has learned from this, and that we shouldn't jump to conclusions right away. We should get more information. We should have more um, evidence to back things up. That we shouldn't just take somebody's word for something that's going on. That we need to know more before we jump out of our pants and go nuts over it. And that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to wait it out and see if things played out and calmed down, and they kind of didn't. So I'm glad. I am so thankful for Aaron and William and Poe, for mostly Aaron and William today and yesterday, coming out and finally saying, chill out. Stop doing it. Stop. Just stop. He even said, if you want to come back and protest, nobody's going to get in your way. Just stop this. Stop whatever this is. And I just hope he and whoever else is involved, because I don't even know. I don't know who all the players are. I don't know everybody that's talking about it. I don't. That's the problem. I don't. And I just hope anybody that's involved in that and still caught up in that learns that to just back away. Just back away. The KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. Exactly. Is 38 and has no use for social media. My daughter's 31 and she's not on social media. Her drama is friend drama. I don't want to go into it too much. Oh, Dusty, what's up? Yeah, go watch the one with Poe and Sir Crepitus talking about fair gaming. I just thought they were going to talk about fair gaming. I had no idea Sir Crepitus had been through that. I got very, very irritated today. I got angry today when I watched that and I found out Poe was ready to leave, and Sir Crepitus, what he had been through, and that somebody that just came on the scene was wanting to try to bring them down. That just upset me to no end. My teenager doesn't have social media. My daughter said she wasn't going to give the kids social media, but she hasn't let them get anything. They're allowed YouTube, but I've seen them be on YouTube, and there's things on YouTube they shouldn't be watching. Okay. So, all right. So, I think I should start winding down a little bit. So, Dusty, we were just, I'm just hoping that most of the people that are in the chat are adults in the room, and I just hope maybe we can help others, wade their way through the social media. And I hope this is I hope now that it's really been called out that it's just going to go away. That is, and even if it isn't, I think we're going to stop giving it any time. After this, I'm not giving it any more of my time. And if most of us decide, just not to give it our time and energy and space in our brain, it'll have no choice but to go away because it won't be getting any fuel for the fire. Oh, I missed all this. Living the dream. I saw you out on the boat. That looks so fun. That settles it. That's my next video. I missed all this. Sorry, guys. It wasn't moving. Oh, thanks, Susan. Okay, squirrel. Yeah, Scooter Mom, I can't say it's an age group thing. I can't. And I said that. I said, you're going to have all walks of life that want to be a part of that community, and there's nothing we can do about that. And a lot of his community he brought with him. So, that's the thing. We've always said there's all these different kinds of streamers, all doing it a different way, and you can pick who you want to watch and listen to. Don't do things while you're a man. Good night. No food for it. Are we the elders of YouTube? Scary thought, but we can starve it of oxygen. I think so. There's quite a bit of us, because it says on my analytics that my age group is 45 and up, pretty much. So I'm good with that. I'm fine with that. Oh, sorry, guys. But yeah, because I've tried not to give it any oxygen. I've tried to ignore it, and I tried not to get in. When I did talk about it one time before, I didn't do the he said, she said stuff at the time. But, even I was duped. I was told some information that, I talked on, and it may not have been the right information. So, even if you're going to talk about something, it's hard. You got to make sure that you've got the right information. Okay, Dawn. Thanks. I appreciate you being here. How many people do I have? I didn't even look. 29. My goodness. I'm a night owl. I'm like Aaron. If I'm still awake, if I go to bed by 3, I'm happy. And so I'll usually sleep till Tom gets home at 7-ish. So 4 hours of straight sleep for me is good, because my sleep with my back and everything else has been screwed up. So I was like, a lot of people go during the day, and I knew 10 o'clock was 11 on the East Coast and 8 on the West Coast. So I thought, well, let's just do it late. And if you're there, you're there. If you're not, you're not. Thanks, Scooter Mom. I appreciate it. Yeah. I think that's the ultimate goal, is to be respectful. Whether you agree with somebody or not, whether you like somebody or not. And that's me. I was young at the time. I worked with a guy I hated. He was a jerk, and he was assigned to me on something I was doing. If somebody would have said, hey, how does Kim feel about that guy? They would have thought we were good, because I didn't let it show. Only my boss knew, because I said, look, this dude is messing up the program. Other than that, I can get along with just about anybody, because that's just the way I am. I'm not a confrontational person unless need be. I mean, I can be. Y'all saw me. If y'all watched the other day, there was a jerk out in front of the org, left his base plan and left in his Tesla right behind me. And I thought it was Scientology doing it. And then he came back with food from a restaurant. And I kind of lost it on him. I was mad. And I was like, I'm sorry, but I was mad. Whew. And yeah, I kind of went off on him. I was like, you're a jerk. And then he just kept being a jerk. So y'all probably couldn't see what I was doing. He started to run off, and he almost ran a red light because I got my other phone out. And my husband taught me this as a security person when he was at Motel 6. And he had to deal with, it was the worst hotel in North Austin. He had to deal with prostitutes, drug dealers, just everything. And there'd be people in the parking lot just messing up. And he would just hold his phone up and take a picture, and they would all run. Or if somebody was giving him crap, if he took his phone out, he would pretend he was calling 911, and they would run. Well, that's what I was doing. I wasn't calling nobody. I couldn't see the screen. Something's wrong with the phone. So I started describing him, and then I looked at his license plate, and I read it out, and he took off. Most SPTV streamer demographics in the 60s. That sounds about right. Well, I mean, I understand why. I'm here, you're there, we are everywhere. Replay proof is always good. I know what you mean. Well, I mean, the reason I wasn't surprised is look how I got into it. I had the time to deep dive. I was bedridden with my health, and so I had more than a year to deep dive. Not quite a year and a half before I started protesting to deep dive. And a lot of people that are, especially the time I go on during the day, I mean, who's going to be home during the day? But people like us, who has that time. Look at Mona, who's doing all of that work for the community, and she's in a wheelchair, and she's doing some awesome work with the DOJ and LAPD and the IGs, just all this stuff. And those are what I call definite keyboard warriors, activists. They're a big part of this. And so, yeah, I mean, young professionals that work all day aren't going to have time to do this. She is amazing. Totally amazing. I wish I had the brain power that I used to have, because I used to be able to multitask 4 things. When I got sick overnight. I got what they call traumatic fibromyalgia, where there's such a shock to your nervous system that you go right into it, full blast. No working up. And one day I'm working full time. I'm teaching adult Sunday school. I'm doing the church the women's newsletter. And I could multitask 4 things at work. I was on it. I didn't even have to do it. I could remember all the bills. I could remember all the doctor's appointments. Now I miss everything. I used to be able to read a novel a week. Now I can barely read a magazine article. I do troll a little bit because I don't like so-and-so, but I try to be respectful, and I back down when asked. You are preaching wisdom right now. Thank you, Squirrel. I appreciate it. I feel ya. I completely understand. The whole thing bothered me too. Yeah. Yes, we are the adults in the room. SPTV is bigger than any one streamer. We are a family. Yes. And I know we're going to be okay. It just took the parents to finally say something. You know what I mean? The last couple days to finally be like, just stop. And so I saw so many people in the chat going, thank you. Thank you for finally saying something. And, we all know he doesn't say anything unless it gets to the point that it's bad. And then he says something, and then he's done. The fact that he had to come back a second time, it's been a love-hate relationship, Sarmento. I mean, I loved what he was doing in the beginning. I loved it. It was awesome. I didn't sit in his stream much because I just didn't have the time. And, he has, there's certain people that like certain streamers. So, I would give him some time, and I tried to give everybody time. But he would do those 4 or 5 hour streams because he he lived out of his van. He could sit there, and I can't sit for 5 hours. I don't think anybody can. Sarmento, yeah. I know. And it was good. And even Aaron said, if you want to come back, and you want to do that again, you're welcome. If you want to keep going after Scientology, you're welcome to come back. And I don't think anybody would care. Well, okay, I can't say that. There are people that will probably care. But you know what I mean. I don't know that he made a big splash, and the thing was, he was doing well doing it. I don't understand why he had to change tactics. I mean, he had a good channel going, he had a good thing going. People were supporting him. He had a community. So I don't know. I don't understand. Okay, no face. I need to go too. I'd never expected to be on here for 2 hours, guys. But 33 people are here. That's pretty awesome. I could talk all night. I'm a talker. If I was in LA, I would give him a wide berth. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I missed some things. Sorry. My biggest age group is 25 to 34. See, you got a younger pup groomer. You've got a younger set. My analytics are 45, like 45 to 55. Bigger from the 55 to like 64, and then the older than that's a little bit. That's what I remember. I don't have much under 45. Not enough to really score. Thanks, Judy. Yeah, I'll stick around a few more minutes. Yes, was a good stream. I appreciate that. I know a lot of people that don't have channels I know they felt the same as me. I could see that in the chat, and that's kind of why I wanted to do it. And yeah, we all thought it, but was too afraid. Exactly. And because it was, gosh, what was going on was horrible. I wanted to stay as far away from it as possible. Night, Leslie. Yeah, what time is it for me? I slept late today. I didn't get up until 8:30. It's 12. His problem is he's way too conspiracy prone, and he goes down unnecessary rabbit holes that piss people off. Yeah. I mean, at first, when it was early on, I was like, well, yeah, it's possible that there's some Scientology plants. Okay, well, let's talk about Daniel. I supported Daniel in the chat when I saw the interview with Francois. I was like, look, he got her talking for an hour. He was trying to do a good thing. He was like me. He did push a little bit on a few things. And William went off on him and then apologized too. And then what happened? We were all duped. All duped. We didn't really talk about that much because then the other stuff happened right after that. Man, how stupid did I feel? I also started to support, was named Zachary. He said he was a journalist. I didn't know him, but for a minute. And I was like, so, I mean, we got to be prepared for that. Yeah, Scooter Mom. That's why if all the streamers just adopt my number one rule, and that's no talking shit about other streamers or even other chatters, especially when half of us don't know what they're talking about. Because if we weren't there, we don't know. So I think if everybody just adopted that rule, we would have less trouble. The communities he came from are devastated. It messed them up. We lucky it hit a boiling point so fast. Yeah. I was a bit perturbed because I didn't know him at all. Honestly, the interview he did was like the first time I saw him, but I watched it with kind of an open mind. And so I was trying to say, well, he looked like he was really trying to do it, But I hope he has a successful channel watching waterfalls where he can entertain people, making boatloads of money and not hurt anybody. Yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah. I'm not surprised, Dusty, yeah. His heart always starts off in the right place. I know, it's just, I'm going to say this without any, if that's true, if this has happened in this way before, there could be mental illness involved, because certain mental illnesses go in cycles. And that's all I'm going to say. Somebody in the chat mentioned it, and I'm like, trying to be generous, I was like, that very well might be what it is. And until he gets help or something like that, I I think a lot of people hope that's what it is, or hope that it's something artificial, because we don't want to think that this is just the way that that person is. Mm. Well, Zach, I didn't know for a minute either. I mean, I would just pop into a new channel and it looked like a new streamer, a young person, starting out. And I wanted to give them, some support like people did me. That's all it was. I didn't know anything about them. I just knew they were in LA and they were starting to stream, and I knew they were new, and that's it. And so I didn't have a lot invested. So right after I found them, they both just blew up, and I was like, oh, well, okay. But that's not going to make me stop. I'm not going to make a minority amount of people, a handful of people. That's what I should say. I'm not going to let a handful of people change the way I do things. If I see a new channel, I'm going to support them until they do something that I shouldn't support them anymore. As long as they're there. If they look like they're there to fight Scientology, to protest, or do any kind of activism, and and that's what they're doing, I'm still going to support them until they don't deserve it anymore. And that's all we can do. I don't think we should let it change us. Because I don't want to not support somebody with their heart in the right place because of previous bad actors. So I'm not going to let it change me. I'm still going to do what I'm doing. I'm still going to support. I think we all should. And I think now that the bigger channels have finally weighed in, I'm hoping this is the end of it, or at least the end of it for the major part of the community. I'm sure there are those that are still going to be over there saying what they want to say. We're just going to ignore them. That's all we can do. He once came hard after a streamer friend of mine. Oh, I know. Me too, Scooter Mom. I can't believe I just said it. I'm sorry. I can't think of anything else. Yeah, I know. I've heard it way too much. Well, Sarmento, I hope that's the case. Yeah, Michael. Yeah. Oh, you got a membership too. Cool. Yeah, I was going to do this as a members only chat, but then I realized I think everybody needed to maybe talk about it some. I needed it. I figured if somebody else needed it, they'd be here. We're here. Do not talk about streamers in a live unless we are promoting or uplifting a streamer channel. This topic is different, though. It needs to be discussed. Yeah, and I'm trying not to like crap all over anybody. I really just wanted to talk about how to move on more than anything. But you weren't here earlier, after I created the live stream and the title is when I hadn't seen Poe's show yet about Sarcrepitus, and that Poe was ready to leave, and some other stuff that I watched I hadn't seen yet. So I was a little bit more perturbed when I came on than I expected. I was just going to talk about moving on from here. Let's not let this happen again. Please. I don't think it will. I think now that it has, we know what it looks like. And I don't think it's going to get as big and contentious as it did this time. Growing pains, like somebody said. We're having growing pains. We had some disagreement. I think if you've noticed, I haven't used the word drama. I think this is more than that. I didn't want to use the catch-all term. Oh, I'm glad, Scooter Mom. Yeah, that's my number one rule, Dusty. And it's funny, the first person to ever for somebody to be in my chat to talk bad about was him. And it was my first troll that I put in timeout because I said, we're not going to talk about other streamers in my chat. And I had that way at the beginning, mainly because I don't watch all the streamers or I don't watch all of their content. If you come in my chat, start talking about another streamer, I probably don't know what you're talking about. And I don't really want to if I don't know what they're talking about. I watched old videos. Yeah, the cauliflower crust pizza. That sounds good. Because I'm gluten free, so that's helpful. Now, I'm not allergic. I can have it, but then I pay for it. I have pain. And anybody out there, I love to talk about this. It took me a couple weeks, even after I was told by a nutritionist / chiropractor to go off gluten because of I have so many different things going on. That's chronic pain. And anybody with an autoimmune disease or chronic pain can benefit from going gluten free because gluten causes inflammation. And as soon as I did it, my symptoms were better. I slept better. My tremors went away. The pain got better. And when I cheat, I can tell. But usually it's really about how much I have. And so if I have like a hamburger with a regular bun, I might not sleep very well or I might have a little extra pain. I have so much pain I honestly don't notice when it's a little bit. So any of you that have lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, even an old injury that you have chronic pain with, if you can, and it's so much easier to go gluten-free now than it was back in 2013, 2014, 10 years ago, because I used to have to drive all the way to Austin to Whole Foods to find the gluten-free stuff. Now, the grocery stores all have it, especially Walmart. So now I can get everything I need. I can get snacks and pasta and I because of my health and because my husband and I are on different schedules, we get Factor meals and they're gluten free too, and they're awesome. They're worth it. Everybody says, "Oh, they're so expensive." I'm like, if I were to go out and buy all the ingredients to make this meal, it would be so much more. So if y'all are interested in those meals, I've done all the making meal kits, which didn't work because I wasn't healthy enough and I was throwing all the way with the produce. So then I went to Freshly. Freshly got a little bit bad quality there for a while, so I switched to two others that I didn't stay with, and then I've been with Factor a very long time. Just asking questions. Yeah, we're all smart enough to know what that meant. Judy, I have rheumatoid arthritis and I love gluten. I knew I should try going off it, but yeah, and the person that talked to me told me to go off gluten and dairy. And I was like, I can't do both. So the I was in her friend's shop. We were just standing there And she asked me, I had my cane, and we talked for an hour, and she told me to go gluten-free, get rid of processed foods, eat a lot of greens, eat only fresh I eat fresh or frozen produce. I read every label. If there is something on a label that I can't pronounce, I don't get it. I get organic when I can afford it. I can't always. My problem is I get grocery delivery by Walmart. I cannot buy produce from a delivery, either the grocery store or Walmart, because they bring me stuff that looks like it's been kicked around in a soccer match every time. And I tried again a couple days ago, and I had a doctor's appointment the day I took 3 things back. I took the celery, I took the sliced apples, and I took the mushrooms back to Walmart. And I'm like, look. And I have pictures from the last year of all the crap they have sent me. So I have to do my own produce run every once in a while. I just don't buy produce. And there are times where I'm eating unhealthy because I don't. So I'm getting out of the house more now the last few months. This was before, when I was still bedridden and couldn't get out. Now I can go and get. What's nice is going to Austin. One of the biggest Whole Foods in the world, I think, is in Austin. It takes up a whole city block. And you park underground, you got an escalator. And it took me, when it opened, or when I found out about it, I don't know which, it took us 2 trips, 2 hours each, to see the whole store, to go up each aisle and see everything. It took us 4 hours. So I went there to get produce one day after one of my lives. I thought, oh, I'm here, I'll go. I was so disappointed in their produce. But they had some cool stuff too, so I still like it. Dusty. I talked with Poe today, and he's not going to leave us. He very much cares and appreciates the small channels in the movement. John is a class A guy. Yeah, well, he said in the stream, I think it was from yesterday. I'm not sure, because I was watching it on replay, but I watched it today, and he said he was ready to leave. And a couple people talked him off the ledge. Thank God. Because I guess he got raked over the coals over the fundraising, which I thought was just crass. Just crass. I was very upset. And that was after I scheduled this stream. So I thought about changing my title, because I came in a little more angry than I originally was. And it was that, and I saw Aaron and Will talking. So I'm glad kind of the adults in the room finally, got involved. They were trying to stay away from it. I know that. Same way I was. I was hoping it would work itself out, and I was leaving it alone. But as we all know, that didn't happen. But yeah. Yeah. I like Poe. I like his background. We're exactly the same age. And I've worked with law enforcement and the military. And so when him and Crepitus was talking about, trying to get a regular job after being law enforcement, and it's impossible, my husband had the same problem. We joined the Army Reserves in high school. I joined on my 17th birthday. And then after 2 years of reserves, he went active duty. So all we've known is the Army. We were in Navy ROTC in high school, though. But all we've known is the military our whole lives. I say I'm a retired Army wife because that was my job. And then my last regular job before I got sick was six years at the on-post police station. Now, a lot of places they're called MP stations or provost marshal office, but ours had actual Department of the Army civilian police officers and the MPs. And we were one of the biggest posts in the world. So I worked in crime records, and I worked up front, and I actually processed the FOIA requests. So I know how those work. I had to redact them. But for some reason, I think it's because it was on post and it was federal, not anybody could come in and request a report. You had to be in the report to be able to get a copy. Whereas your city police station or whatever, you can go in and request anything, from what it sounds like. but you couldn't with us. If you wanted a report that you weren't in, you had to have a subpoena from a judge or something like that. Because we had a lot of car accidents and we had a lot of attorneys that wanted reports and they had to get a subpoena for it. I'm assuming that was right. That's what I was told to do it. Oh. Yeah, we do. We need them because they've helped the protesters a lot to understand how to deal with the police. And I'm happy that they're good people, good police officers, and that they're calling out the LAPD for the corruptness that they're showing. And I'm glad they're doing that. And it's nice to have that um, support, to know that other police officers or ex-police officers are looking at this and saying that's wrong, that's not right, and that, because it's just so wrong. They just, I knew eventually that there's going to be so much footage of their corruption that they're not going to be able to deny it. And I think it's starting to happen. I think it's starting to wear on somebody. We're seeing a little bit of change. With the civilian security, private security. That's what my husband does. And because I told my husband what that girl did, putting her hands on them, and he was, and funny, they worked for the company he used to work for, Allied. He left Allied to stay at this location. They're a global corporation. They were Allied. They're Allied now. Before that, they were G4S, and sometime before that, they were Blackwater. If y'all know about that, um, that's a whole conspiracy rabbit hole thing. I don't even want to get into. Um, but he said he would never put any hands on anybody unless he's ready to detain them. Yeah, my husband would never. But he also has, you don't come into his space. He'll back up and be like, he'll put his hand on his pepper spray, and he's armed, but he's never pulled his gun in 12 years. He should have once, but the guy was unarmed and he got bum rushed and injured. But he's like, it was, he didn't want to be that guy that shot an unarmed guy. The guy was on a 3-day meth bender. But he knew then it was time to get out of Austin, and now he's in Waco, where he said even the homeless people are nicer. But yeah, I told him what she did, and he's like, no. And it was funny because if you watch, the other guys just let her do it. They backed off, and they're like, oh, that's all you. Because they knew that was wrong. But I also see her point too. She was probably told, don't let anybody come in here. So, I mean, she was told to do a job and she was trying to do it. So, all right. I am in Indian style this whole time, and my hips and my knees are screaming at me. I'm going to be surprised if I can get up. So, I got to go. This was fun. The subject matter wasn't always so much fun, but like somebody said, I wanted to talk about it. A lot of people wanted to talk about it because we were trying to stay away from it, but it's gotten to be, it went too far. But I think we're all on the same page now. I don't think we're going to give those people that want to stir stuff up the time of day anymore. I'm not going to have any more to do with it. I'm done. I hope everybody else is too. I hope everybody has a great rest of your weekend. Tomorrow at 3, we'll be doing the second half of Dianetics chapter on the reactive mind, which is my most interesting chapter because we hear about the reactive mind so much. And the first half, it was a long chapter. That's why we only did half. Should be interesting. So if y'all want to I got into reading it just because I'm curious as to why so many people thought it would help them and got into Scientology. So 3 p.m. Central Time, Dianetics tomorrow. And y'all have a good weekend. Bye, y'all. Hey, Lori. Oh, no. Get her some honey and lemon. Nice to be with grown-ups. Thank you. Okay, Scooter Mama. Good night. See y'all tomorrow.